Alright, so in this video we're going to continue to talk about surface area, but we're going to move on to triangular prisms. So your goal for today is I can determine the surface area of triangular prisms. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So as a review, this is the same exact definition of surface area that I've given you in the last two lessons, but it's important to write it down again because it tells us how to solve it. So surface area is the sum, and sum means adding, of the area of all the faces of the shape. And right here is a triangular prism, and then right here is the net of the triangular prism. Now, when we did rectangular prisms or when we did cubes, there was a specific formula you could use. But I also had told you that if you were stuck, you could just find the area of each face and then add them all together. Well, with triangular prisms, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're not going to use a fancy formula or anything like that. We're going to go ahead and just add all the faces together. So let's take a look here. So on your blue formula sheet, I want you to go ahead and take it out. Pause the video if you need to. So your formula, so to speak, for the surface area of a triangular prism is you're going to add all of the faces and all of the bases. Now you'll remember with a triangular prism, you have two triangles. My airliner just stopped working for a second. But you have two triangles, and then you have rectangles on the rest of the shape. Okay? Those two triangles are going to be your bases. So, right here and right here. Now, while it's important to know the vocabulary, you don't have to freak out about it because, like I said, at the end of the day, you're going to find the area of each part and add it together. Alright, let's take a look at our first example. So for your surface area formula, for rectangular prisms and cubes, I wanted you to write out the formula, but some of you just said I added up all the faces, and that's fine. So for the triangular prism, and actually for the rest of the geometry unit, your formula is going to be faces plus bases. Or you can say bases plus faces. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter. Okay, so let's take a look at this here. So you'll see that I have 5 blank lines. I have face number 1, face number 2, face number 3, base number 1, and base number 2. I like to start at the triangles because they're usually the hardest, but they're not too difficult. So for base number 1 and base number 2, it does not matter which triangle you use. They are going to be the same thing though, and that's an important shortcut to know. So right here I have a triangle, and it's showing that the base is 4, so in my calculator I'm going to do 4 times, and the height is not 7. That's important to know. The height is not 7, okay? The height is actually 5.7. So over here, it's showing you the height, because remember, height for a triangle is not slanted. So 4 times 5.7, and then you can either do divided by 2, or I like to do times 0.5, and that's going to give me 11.4 meters squared, and it's going to be the same for the other one as well. Okay, now let's do the faces, and I'm going to erase my lines to make it a little bit easier to see. Alright, and it does not matter what you call face 1, face 2, or face 3. You just want to make sure that with a triangular prism you have 3 faces that you're adding up. Okay, so I'm going to work with this back rectangle right here, and it looks like it has a base of 8.6. So in my calculator I'm going to do 8.6, and the height of it is 5.7. So 8.6 times 5.7, and that's going to be 49.02 meters squared. Okay? Now I'm going to focus on this bottom one right here. And so that also has a base of 8.6. So I'm going to do 8.6 times. And what is the height of that? Well, the height of it is 4. So 8.6 times 4. And that's going to give me 34.4 meters squared. And I'm going to erase my lines again so that I don't confuse myself with the last one. And then I have this last rectangle, which is right here. It's the one that's slanted there. Okay, and how long is it? Well, it's as long as this one is, so it's 8.6 times, and then how tall is it? Well, it's 7. And you may be thinking, well, Miss Oates, you told me that height cannot be slanted. Well, that's true, but remember, you're finding the area of a rectangle as if it were a flat figure, okay? We don't take the slanted height of a triangle when it's like, well, let me rephrase that. We don't take the slanted height of a triangle, but in this case, this is a flat rectangle, and so it's a base of 8.6 and a height of 7. And when you do that, you're going to get 60.2 meters squared. Your last step is to simply add all these up. So 49.02 plus 34.4 plus 60.2 plus 11.4 plus 11.4. And you should get 166.42 meters squared. All right, let's try another one. So what's our surface area formula? It is faces plus bases. And I'm going to make you write that down on every problem that we practice, okay? So again, I like to start with the bases of the triangle, but you can start wherever you would like. So here's my triangle here, okay? So it has a base of 5 and a height of 2. So I'm going to do 5 times 2 times 0.5, and that's going to give me 5 feet squared, and both of those triangles are going to be the same. Now I need to do my rectangles. So I'm going to start with this one right here, but again, you can start wherever you want. So this has a height of 2, so 2 times, and then how long is this base right here? Well, how long is that? 4. So 2 times 4, so that's going to give me 8 feet squared. And I'm going to erase my lines so I don't confuse myself. And then I'm going to do this rectangle here. And that is 4 feet times 5 feet, which is going to be 20 feet squared. And again, I'm going to erase my lines so I don't confuse myself. And then I'm going to do this rectangle here. And that's going to be 4 feet by 5.4 feet. So 4 times 5.4, that's going to be 21.6 feet squared. And my last step is to simply add them all up. So 8 plus 20 plus 21.6 plus 5 plus 5. And that's going to give me 59.6 feet squared. Okay? All right, let's try another example. So this one here, I actually gave you the 3D figure, and then I also gave you the net because I need you to see how to do it both ways, okay? I think it's a little bit easier with the net, but some people don't think that it's easier. So for this one, I'm going to focus on the net, but also know that these are the exact same dimensions as the net right here, okay? So my surface area formula is faces plus bases. And again, you need to write that down in order to show your work. So I'm going to do the bases first, which are the triangles. Alright, so the base of my triangle is 1, and the height of my triangle is 0.9. So I'm going to do 1 times 0.9 times 0.5, and I'm going to get 0.45 centimeters squared. And remember that the triangles are going to be the same. Okay? Alright, now I'm going to do my rectangles here. So I'm going to focus on this one first. So this is 1 centimeter long, and it is 2 centimeters tall. So 1 times 2, 2 centimeters squared. Now I'm going to move on to the center one. It says it's 1 centimeter long, 2 centimeters high. So again, that's going to be 1 times 2, which is 2 centimeters squared. And the last one right here is going to be 1 centimeter long, 2 centimeters high, which is 1 times 2, which is 2 centimeters squared. So in this example, these 3 faces turned out to be the exact same measurement. But as you saw from the last 2 examples, that's not always the case. So please do not make that assumption. So we're going to go ahead and add all these up. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 0.45 plus 0.45, and that's going to give us 6.9 centimeters squared. I want you to think of surface area as a puzzle, and it won't be as difficult. All right, you go ahead and try this one, and I will do it as well. Alright, go ahead and pause the video if you're not done. If you are done, let's see how we did. So I'll start with the faces. All three faces were the same. They were 42 centimeters squared, and I got that because the length of all of them was 7, and then the height of each one was 6, because we had an equilateral triangle right here, so they all turned out to be the same. Okay, now our bases. Okay, so the base of the triangle was 6. The height was not 6. Remember, height is not slanted on a triangle, okay? The height, it showed us right here, is 5.2. So you do 5.2 times 6 times 0.5, or divided by 2, and that gave you your base. And when you add them all up, you should get 157.2 centimeters squared. All right, go ahead and try the next one. Alright, if you're not done, go ahead and pause the video. If you are done, let's talk about it. So you should have gotten an answer of 920 meters squared. Here's how I got it. Now in this case, all of the faces were different. So the first face that I did here was 17 tall and 20 long. So 17 times 20 is 340. The next one that I did was 15 long, and again, or 15 high and 20 long. Okay, so that's 300. And then the last one, and let me erase my marks so that I don't confuse you. My last one was going to be this rectangle right here. And again, it was 20 long and 8 high. And so I got 8 times 20. And then let's talk about our triangle bases. So I had a height of 8, a base of 15, and then I just did times 5, or you can do, or times 0.5, and you can go ahead and do divided by 2 if you want. And when you add them all up, you should get 920 meters squared. All right, last one. This is just a net, which is nice because you can write on it. So you go ahead and try this. All right, go ahead and pause the video if you're not done. If you are done, let's talk about it. So remember, our formula is faces plus bases. And I just wrote right on the net, and that's the way that I like to do it. So here I had 3 times 4, which is 12. Here I had 3 times, this is 3, which is 9. And here I had 5 times, and then this is 3 here, which is 15. For my triangle, the base, I knew from over here was 3, so 3 times 4 is 12, and then when you divide that by 2 or multiply it times 0.5, it's 6, and I know that my 2 triangles are always going to be the same with triangular prisms. And I will erase that there and fix that. And so when you add those all up together, you do get a surface area of 48. If it's helpful to you, you can always take a solid 3D figure and open it up and make a net if you're somebody that likes to write on it. The only problem with that, or not really problem, but the only place you need to be careful with that is that you're drawing the net correctly, and that you're matching up the dimensions correctly to each part of the net. But if that's something that you're good at and you like it, you like to write on the net, you find that easier, then go ahead and do that. Okay? Alright, that is the end of this video, the end of surface area of triangular prisms. You can always rewind or ask me questions in class.